All right, guys, so I mentioned in another video, I was talking about like when we're on the ground, like what to do when someone's on top of you and you gotta get back up, right? Obviously the ground is a huge category. You can train your whole life and not know really much about the ground. That's how dense grappling is, right? There's layer after layer after layer about this game, right? So, but you know, when we're on the ground, you wanna get up good and you're gonna run, because in a self-defense situation, getting out of the room or running, it really is always the best option. Sometimes you do have to fight, that's true, but when the option does present itself for you to run the opposite direction, that's what you should do. Now, I'm gonna assume a different situation. I'm not on the ground yet. In fact, my opponent is gonna try to attack me with punches or with grappling. Those are the two things someone's gonna try to do. They're gonna try to kick and punch, or they're gonna try to grab you, right? In both situations, because I don't wanna be held, right? I don't wanna be hit, my stance is gonna be similar. It's important that you're very active on your legs. So no matter how scared you are, you gotta be ready to move your feet, but always facing your opponent. Now, someone who's panicking and wants to run away might do that. Unless you know you can outrun your opponent, okay? You don't wanna do that. If you can't outrun your opponent, and you're pretty confident you can't do that, then you have to be facing your opponent the whole time. Once again, it depends, it's different. Like it depends who your attacker is, it depends on your athletic ability, how confident you are you can run. But if you can't outrun your opponent, what you wanna do is you wanna keep your hands up, similar to a striking stance. What's gonna happen here is you're gonna be, for those of you who have no striking experience, this is like footwork 101. You don't want any weight on your heels. If you have any weight on your heels, you're gonna be slow, because anytime I wanna move, I have to shift my weight forward before I go, right? So you wanna be on the ball of your feet. So my heels can touch the ground, they're touching, but there's no weight on my heels, all the weight on the front of my feet, so I can move quickly when I have to. The other thing is you want somewhat of a wide stance. You don't want to be standing too tall with your feet close together. You want a wide stance. Anything you're comfortable with, like different striking styles will have different stances. It's really about, because we're talking about self-defense, it's really about comfort, how comfortable you feel moving this way or that way, and how wide you want that stance. You want your knees slightly bent, you want your weight on the ball of your feet, you don't want any weight on your heels. This is very important. I'm gonna stay a little bit lower, always protecting your chin. You never wanna lift your chin up, chin down. A, because if they're hitting you, it's a smaller target. You don't wanna get hit in the jaw, that's how you get knocked out. Two, you wanna keep your hands up covering the top of your head. Remember, we're not talking MMA here, we're talking about self-defense situation. My opponent's gonna attack me in two ways. He's gonna try to grab me, or he's gonna try to strike. Because I am trying to prevent a conflict, I'm trying to get away from him, okay, which is always plan A. Plan B, yes, I'm trying to hurt him back. Plan A should always be try to get away. When he's coming at me with punches, what I wanna do is I wanna cover and be moving my foot backwards, but without losing track of him, right? And until either someone comes over and stops the situation, or you find a way out. If we're gonna be hitting them back because no one's gonna interfere to help you, you're alone, then it's a whole different category. We can work on that some other video. Right now, I'm just teaching you how to move and how to cover. It's very important that I keep my elbows in too, because if he tries to grab me, there's not a lot to hold on to. What you don't want is go like here, because he's gonna go under me with the clinch. Okay? And you don't want to bring your elbows in, because he's going to go over. And in both situations, I'm going to be stuck, especially if he's stronger than you. So you want to be somewhere over here. So when he tries to clinch, like my elbows, there's nothing to hold on to. So you can see how his hands aren't connected. So it's easy for me to get away. He can't really connect me. So if my elbows are in, I'm protecting the top of my head, try to clinch. If he tries, there's nothing there. So I'm always able to move him away. If he tries to go under my elbows like an underhook, it's easy to block also because my elbows are in. So if you try to body lock me there, because my arms are under, you see that? There's no connection. He can go over or under. Now, the second I do this, he goes under, and if I start with my elbows too close, with my hands too close to my body, he might be able to go over. And if he's stronger than you, this is a bad idea. If the athletic ability is about the same, it's really not a great clinch to go over the arms, but if someone's a lot stronger than you, a lot bigger, it could be a problem. So the footwork part here is going to be important, guys, where I keep my elbows in a low stance. It's very important, because if I'm not hitting this person back, you want to be moving back, but never lose track of the target. What am I looking at? I feel like different ways of striking coaches will teach you different things. A lot of them will say focus on the shoulders. That's the most common one. A lot of people say focus on the eyes. It's different striking coaches will say different things. The most common one is to look at the shoulders, because you can see everything he's doing. I have a very good view of his body. I see his arms, I see the legs, and it might be difficult to do in a panicking situation where you feel like you're threatened. But if I keep my eyes on his shoulders, I see everything he's doing. So if he's striking me, I'm able to cover up, I'm able to move. Okay? If he tries to clinch with me, look, because he can't connect his hands, it's always easy to get away. Now, this is simple. The problem is when you're in a real life situation, you're panicking, you have no training, it might be difficult to remember all this, right? This is why training is important. What do I mean by training? Memorizing a move? No, right? What in judo they call randori, combat friction. You have to have someone trying to beat you, right? You trying to beat them. That dynamic is what really teaches you how to fight. So there's no way around it. True self-defense requires mat time, okay? In general terms, when you're in an open space, even before you engage with your opponent or your attacker, you want to have a good understanding of what's behind. This is a very important thing. This is why close quarter combat, it's a little bit different. We're going to talk about that in another video. When it's open, let's say you're in a football field, you have plenty of space to move. Even if you have plenty of space, you still want to be aware, is there a curb right behind me? Is there, like maybe it's grass and it's slippery. Maybe there's, someone or something, a chair or a table behind me. Like, depending on where you're at, you have an idea of what's behind you and you want to move accordingly. So knowing the room can be very, very important if you're trying to get away from an attacker. But the basic stance is this, look at this right here. Once again, the weight in front of my feet, knees slightly bent, elbows in, tuck in my head. When he tries to attack, I'm going to prevent him from clinching. The punches are easy to block if I just keep my hands close, right? If they really know how to box, it's a different story, but the vast majority of people don't know how to throw a punch. They throw it wide like that because they want to gain power. And I just got to cover up by bringing my arm over the top of my head. So if you're not sure how to do this, try to cover the top of the head with your arm. And when he hits me, he's going to hit me in the arm. It's not going to hurt me, okay? You're going to feel it. It might rock you a little bit. It might put you slightly off balance, depending on how heavy and how strong he is, how hard he hits. But for the most part, you're not going to be hurt. Once he hits me in the head, big problem. So just covering up and be ready to move too, because if you lose your balance, and this is why being on the ball of your foot is so important, because if I did lose my balance when I got hit, I can always catch it because my legs are far apart. If I'm here, no bueno. The other thing, when I move, notice that I never cross my feet. In fact, I never have my feet together. I only shuffle. I shuffle. Why? Because when I shuffle, I can easily regain my balance in case he tries to take me down or he hits me hard enough for me to lose my balance. If my feet are fall apart, if my feet are too close together, I may not have the reflexes to regain my balance. You definitely don't want to move like this, and you definitely don't want to move like that either. So if you're going backwards, I'm never doing that. I'm shuffling the whole time, lying on my feet, okay, until I'm able to get away from my opponent. Once again, if I'm going to hit him back, if I'm going to grapple him, it's a whole new category. Running away is always the best one.